It's been over a year since I defeated the Queen Valkyrie, a foe that I only challenged to ensure that I can platinum God of War, one of my favorite games of all time. Actually, let me rephrase that. My favorite game of all time. I only did it so I can get this platinum trophy, and she was extremely difficult. And now I stumble across Horizon Forbidden West, a game that I have very similar feelings toward, and I decided that I needed to platinum this game too. So platinuming this game isn't very hard, besides this one challenge where you have to defeat this figure named the Enduring. They don't really tell you much about them, all they say is that you have to defeat these 3 pitmasters that are across the entire map, who also have their own unique challenges. I don't have footage for the first guy I beat because I beat him in like April and I did it just for fun and he was pretty easy, and honestly I don't remember him. But I do have footage of the other guy. So this first guy is named Tanalo, and basically his whole shtick is that he has this really big shield and a really big sword, and that's really all there is to it. You're basically just thrown into this pit with your spear and a basic bow that, I kid you not, does 1 damage. So really you're in here with a spear. You don't have any of the materials that you collected across the game. Like I am max level at this point, and none of the crazy bows I have are here. And you have the same spirit that the entire game, so it's just a normal spear, and you're just thrown in there against a guy with really heavy armor. You only have 2 minutes to beat him, and so you have to act really quickly. And I learned after about an hour of fighting him that I really need to start playing aggressive, and so I started playing really aggressive. I just, like, the game was mine. Like, I just kept on making sure he didn't get to play the video game, and it was just me that was attacking him. And he would throw in attacks, and I would usually dodge into him in order to make sure that I can get into my next attack. A lot of the times, the whole point would be whenever my spear turned blue, that meant I have a resonator blast, so I'd hit him with an attack and then break his shield with the resonator blast temporarily. So then I can get a whole bunch of hits off on him and be able to combo myself enough to where I can get him to really low health, and then I can afford to waste some time dodging him and making sure I don't die. Because again, playing on the hardest difficulty, and that's just how it works. So once I figured out that's what I needed to do to play really aggressively and all that, it really only took me 30 minutes after that. So this was really only about a 90-minute fight, and then I had figured out how it worked, with the first hour of me being really having no clue how it worked. By the end of the fight, we were both low health, both basically 1 hit, and so I was just timing my attacks and trying to see if I can get a string out that would allow me to be able to kill him, but he wasn't really budging for a little while, and so eventually I just waited for him to use a really heavy attack like the one you see right here, and then I'm able to finish the job and kill him. Well, not really kill him, but defeat him, which means I only have 1 more guy to fight, and then I can fight the Enduring. So, you know how I just said I only have 1 more guy to fight before I can fight the Enduring? I really meant 2, because you're fighting 2 people at the exact same time in this fight. Now, back in April, around the same time I had beaten the other guy I don't have footage for, I decided to challenge these guys, and I actually fought them for 4 hours and wasn't able to beat them. And I was like, wow, okay, this is hard. Because it's one guy that's really tiny and is able to do a lot of hits. He isn't really that big of a deal. Like, he's fast, but he has pretty low health. Like, I wipe him out almost immediately in this. But the big guy's the problem. Like, you're trying to string attacks, and the big guy will come in, and he can kill you in about 2 hits. So that's why this is a big problem. But I went into this immediately after I had beat the other guy I was just talking about, and I was fully in the zone. I beat these guys in less than 10 attempts. It took me less than 15 minutes to beat these guys now. I completely upgraded since I last fought them in April, not in terms of like stats, but in terms of how to fight these people, how to fight with a spear, and not really have a bow to use besides for your resonator blast. It's just I immediately target the really tiny guy. He's down after like 30 seconds of this fight, and then it's just me and the other guy for a minute and a half. And he's got really big attacks, but of course he has really big cooldown. And so I just need him to attack. I play pretty passively at this point. I just need him to attack. He'll land a few hits, but I'll be able to gain some of my health back. And then I just need to string a few more attacks to make sure I can kill him. Getting Resonator Blast is huge against this guy because there are multiple times where he's just sitting there and he isn't really doing anything because he's recovering because he has a giant hammer and all that. So getting the Resonator Blast gives a bunch more stun to him, so you can hit him already in his stun, and Resonator Blast him and hit him even more, which allows you to get so much damage out at one time. So, I really have nothing else to say about this fight. I'm surprised that I beat it so quickly. But yeah, I was just, I really thought this one was going to take me a while because of how long it took me before, but I beat this in less than 15 minutes, honestly. It was like 13 minutes I beat this in. It was a pretty close shave because, of course, again, 2-minute timer we have to deal with here. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I was able to beat it pretty easily, so here we go. Yeah, I beat these 2 guys. There we go. On to the Enduring. Alright, and lastly we have the moment we've been waiting for, the fight against the Enduring. Now, who is the Enduring exactly? Well, she is just this old lady that lives in the middle of nowhere. She isn't that old, but, I mean, like, she isn't young. She's, like, 50. But, she just lives in the middle of nowhere, and she's trained a bunch of very prevalent characters that are in the game. And, yeah, so, that's really all she is. She just has a bunch of heavy armor. There's no timer on this fight. Which does not mean it's hard. This is definitely the hardest out of all of them by a pretty good mile. But what makes this so hard especially? Well, there's two things that make this so hard. Discarding the I die in 2 hits to everything, because that's just been a thing for everything that I've had to fight so far in this. So that's nothing new. But what's new is she ignores the rules of hit stuns half the time. Like, you'll have a combo that works against anybody else, it literally happened just there, where I was using a combo that works against any other enemy in this game, machine or man, it works. But against her, so sometimes she's just like, you know what, I don't really feel like getting hit by that. Like, she'll just pull out her bow and be like, yeah, I don't really care, or I'll roll back. So that's pretty annoying. And I did find a way to counter it, and maybe not an exactly perfect way, but I kind of just figured out that, like, she would have more of a hit stun animation where she would kind of like be swaying to the side a little bit if she was in hit stun. But if you started hitting her and she was just kind of like standing there and she wasn't really reacting a lot, that probably meant that she wasn't going to care about the next hit you were going to throw out. And so I'd have to roll away. So that was something I figured out pretty late on into the run. But the other thing I figured out, not figured out, but the other thing that is really annoying about her is that she just has this bow, and it's not like my bow that does 1 damage, that's only used exclusively for Resonator Blast, like what you're about to see. Like, this is the only time I use the bow, is to get that Resonator Blast off. She has a bow that kills me in 2 hits, and she's also able to charge it in half a second. You can hear, when she shoots the bow, it's the exact same sound as my heavy bow that I use in the game, and it takes about 2.5 seconds to pop up. But see, she shoots it really quick there. It's immediate, as if she has multiple arrows in it or something, which might be what it is. But it just kills me immediately, and it was a rundowner for me multiple times. A lot of the times, it would combine both elements, where she would ignore the hit stun and then pull out her bow and kill me in 2 hits immediately. And it's hard to dodge it, and really, I didn't find an exact counter to this. She would just go to shoot, and I would try to roll or dive at a perfect time, and then hit her once and roll away. And then half the time, like 50% of the time, she would end up stop using her. She would stop using her bow. The other half of the time, she wouldn't stop using her bow, and the run would be over. But this actually didn't end up being too bad. This only took me about 45 minutes, and that's not because it's easier than the other ones, because both of them combine when we combine all the time, including way back when I first tried to beat these a couple months ago. This took me the least amount of time, but I don't think that's because it was the easiest at all. I think this is definitely the hardest one. It's just I had come into this with so much more knowledge than I had with the other two that I was actually really prepared for this fight. And it still ended up taking me 45 minutes. When we combine my knowledge of having to be really aggressive, the shield guy took me about 30 minutes, and the 2 guys took me like 12 minutes. When I came into this, I already knew that being aggressive was key, and it still took me 45 minutes. So it is definitely no Queen Valkyrie, no 7.5 hour venture, but yeah, I'm just going to show the clip now where I actually won, because these are all clips of me losing, because there is 45 minutes of footage of that, but I'm not going to play all that, so yeah, I'm just going to load the clip where I win, and yeah, so, thanks for watching.
Alright,
Nice.
high yield.
I'm noticing my best runs are runs where I don't have a game plan, and I'm just, like, playing super gay. I'm just staying right on top of her. Like, it is like a lesbian episode of a certain website, you know? Like, that is honestly where my runs are best. Oh good, I get more out of this. Yes, and the last to give a Resonator Blast. Oh, unless I miss the... I just want priority on my hit. I just want priority on my hit. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't really get priority, I just dodged and I hit her, but... Just gonna leading into the attack. I push you by hitting you with my spear. That's the whole thing. It's fine.
Did you come all this way to lose?
Yeah, I did. It's got good range, that move. I made a mistake there. Yeah, I realized it. Oh!
I yield.
Oh!
Well done, Aloy. Someone must have trained you well.
You're pretty tough yourself.
Many challengers have trained with me over the years.
Oh!
Each one the same as the
I
last.
just platinum the game! What do you mean?
There.
Thank you.
You've had a
What did you do to it?
hard
There's a
one.
raccoon back there. So the health bar is a lie. Like, once it gets to the last quarter, you just automatically win. What the heck is this guy doing back here? Can I, like, give him a little slap? Die!